Do you think we have our own, like, probably not as good, but like hidden Iron Dome that the DoD just doesn't talk about, but they know it's there?
I don't know. I don't know that the threat that we would face here is worthy of that. But I would imagine we do, because, like, we're giving Israel, like, we just gave Israel the low altitude, whatever, the LFAB or whatever that's called. Like, we have this technology. We're sharing it with Israel. Do we have it to not have it, like, to not use it? I don't think that makes a lot of sense. But I think most of these are portable, right? So we may have, 10 in the southeast, 10 in the northeast, and if a threat appears, then they will be deployed. I don't know that they're always deployed. A 15-minute nap, and now my brain works.
Oh, how's the sickness? I forgot to ask.
I feel like my energy level after taking a nap is starting to come up a little bit.
Is it better or worse than yesterday? Which way are you trending?
I think now I feel a little better.
That's good. Glad to hear. Did my 9-hour drive overnight last night just to find out I did leave the heat on. That was a annoying thing.
It might be a good day to do a Wi-Fi enabled thermostat, Pat.
I came down already. That's the first thing I'm going to do as soon as I get back up there next week.
I'd love to stay, but I just got to go. Jeff, I'll talk to you later. Pat, rised up.
Nations map. Are you talking about the Mercator projection? Is that the map you mean?
The United Nations, and Wesley had made a mention of how all these nations, the United Nations, came together to agree on one thing, and that's under no circumstances is any civilian or regular person or journalist to explore the Antarctica. And the United Nations map is a flat map.
Came together. I don't think you're aware of FDR's Four Freedoms or the failed League of Nations or the fact that humanity has only since about the year 1900
the League of Nations is not the world. The League of Nations was some European nations that came together. It had nothing to do with Africa. Had nothing to do.
In fact, it was created by Woodrow Wilson.
These fucking conspiracy. We don't want to hear that. We just want to have a good time. Come on, you always ruining the night with all this fucking health shit. We don't want to hear this. Yeah, it's killing us. We get it. Blah, 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 blah. We get it already. Hello? That's what I'm saying. You wasting your time.
Who just shamed this man for no reason?
Who shamed him? Nobody shamed him. I'm just saying. Either way, it's still not a good look on humans, period, or just the image of the black man.
A very strict level of control of who's in your space and who's not. Right? And like, I stick to my beliefs that, like, what you're looking for is readily available. It's called gay men. It's like, you just go to a fucking gay bar and you will get a certain level of openness and understanding and empathy. And then if you step out of line and you say something, someone would just be like, honey, this is why you're wrong. right? So like that.
In the queue, please. Thank you. Put a real nigga. Hey.
Next in the queue.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. Put a real nigga in the queue. Thank you.
Next in the queue is next in the queue.
Can you tell that deportee to chill out?
Next in the queue is weed. Weed, if you're there.
When is your deportation
Next in
date?
the queue.
When is this nigga getting deported, Nate? I know the nigga already told you bye.
Come on, please, guys.
I know already told you bye.
We got a good one going. Come on. Go.
Next in the queue is weed. Weed, if you're there, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I don't, I've never been a fan of not talking about people because people throw low shots at any family member except for the spouse or the kids, right? What if I love my mom as much as I love my children? You know what I'm saying? It's just or my father or my brother. So I don't know. I'm kind of with Melissa, but I understand the nuance of having certain rules in here. I do. With that being said, people be bitching about anything. People want you to capitulate to their feelings, and that's it. And then they want to rule the room with their emotions. And I don't think that's fair for the people who curate the room. I honestly don't. So if the rules are the rules and you don't like the rules, get the fuck out. I mean, it's just that simple. That's all I got to say.
All right, I'm ready to go. All right, so here's the thing. I took notes on this.
It definitely ain't Chelgo.
Yeah,
It
it's my turn.
Yo, Nate, where am I?
Oh,
Nate, that's right. I'm after you.
It's in the chat, Concrete. It's a long list, too.
All right, Mike.
My bad, Mike. You got it.
It's all good, brother. I understand how it is. Okay, so look, I took notes on this, right? School, I don't come in here. That's what you're saying. Because you're a bitch. No one cares about your fucking feelings. The point is this. No one's asking to change the rule. We're acting to fucking provide, right, the interpretation of the rule. Now, Hugh said we're not here to do that, but ironically, he was interpreting the rule as an absolute. For example, we could say killing is wrong, right? Murder is what? Unjustified killing. But you could kill in self-defense. So in certain cases, right, it's justified and it's not. And that's what we're doing here right now. We're not trying to say that's not the case. Now, I'm sorry because I actually like Pulp that her husband is the example of this, but she said, quote, I brought my husband in the room because he has an opinion on politics. Right there, checkmate.
No, because I thought you guys were nice people, Mike.
Okay, I apologize that we're not.
There's a cue ball.
You'll never be here again. You'll never be here again, you fucking faggot.
Okay, hold up. So I think right there, that statement confirms what I said. I brought him in your two.
He's never disrespected any of you fucking weirdos.
There's a cue ball.
Okay, so I didn't say that he did. My point, and this was the only point, was this. Once you contribute, people can respond the way they want.
All he did is ask questions.
That's called contributing. I'm sorry you don't understand that. That's the point. And so when school was trying to ask a question in regards to what did he say, he didn't hear him say anything. He doesn't have to because she just said everything right there. I brought him in here because he has an opinion on politics, which means that he's contributing to the topic of the room. It's a checkmate. Right then and there, you become at least a inconsistent member to the community. That's it. It's a done deal. So we could talk about like what Don, I'm here to have a blank conversation. No one gives a fuck. No one's changing the rule. What we're trying to do is add nuance to say, hey, look, what do we mean when we say this? What do we mean when we say, hey, look, what defines you as a community to the member? Now, I remember Pulp saying, I brought Hugh in the room. So she brought him in the room, and that fool has a fucking green bean. Then she brings her man in the room because he has an opinion on politics. What's the difference? The level of consistency? Sorry, not sorry. If you contribute, you're part of it. Whether you're inconsistent or not. That's it. Checkmate.
No.
Oh, that was a good one.
No.
I like what he said. Look out, you Spurs. I'm fucking next. Shut the fuck up. Chillism is a great space, but not a safe space. Again, I repeat to all motherfuckers that's in here. chillism is a great space, not a safe space. You know, it's kind of funny, right? Because not too long ago, I was bringing up like the inconsistency of certain rules and shit like that, right? And the response was, the rules ain't gotta necessarily be here to be implemented and strict on. The rules is here to shut you motherfuckers the fuck up. And at first I didn't get it, right? When that was said. But I'm seeing all these feelings and conversations and obstructions and all kinds of shit being thrown around. And I'm like, damn. Like, there's supposed to be a free speech space, but it's rules and shit like that, right? So it's like, on one hand, you motherfuckers want the strong arm. And on the other hand, you want the weak arm. That body and that type of person to look like a weird motherfucker, right? If this was the actualize, the fucking physicality of it, right? This what I'm saying. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. Because a lot of you motherfuckers, right? This is what y'all do, right? Y'all, and you know, shout out to Pope. Me and her done went at it. You know, I ain't got no problem with you, though, and you know that, right? But if you don't want your spouse being talked about, how about this? When you engage in battle and shit like that, don't put your marriage up on a motherfucker and shit like that. How about you just directly address the motherfucker, cuss him out, call him ain't shit and all that kind of shit, right? Then you don't have to worry about nobody coming for your spouse and shit like that. You can't. That's why I'm married and you're not. And then be surprised when the motherfucker responds is like, oh, your boyfriend is this and that, your husband this and that. It don't work like that. Especially when somebody is in a full-fledged heated battle. Ain't nobody thinking about the motherfucking rules and shit. Not all the time. Now, I will speak on this, though, right? Because this is what the moderators could do better. Be better at being bipartisan and not picking a side and shit like that. Split straight down the middle. Hold on. Stop sucking my dick. Go back on mute. Stop sucking my dick, Kaboom. Go back on mute, right? Go back on mute, right? I know it tastes good, but just damn. Anyway, I was saying, look, hey, look out. What's up with you?
Let him finish.
You a weird nigga too. All of you niggas is weird. All of y'all. Every single one of y'all, right? Point is this, right? Damn, we're all.
Kendall, I don't give a fuck.
Look out.
I don't know who moved her back up.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Let
so
the
you're
rule,
mad
point
at
at a rule, hold on.
You're talking about me?
Point of moderation.
She feel like her supposed to rule over what's going on right now. That's just
wasn't the new move down rule was the person that moved them down supposed to move up? So this song is about you.
Fuck you, you fat neck ass faggot. Shut the fuck up with your dirty ass.
Come on, y'all, chill. and this is why, you know what I'm saying, like a lot of people stepped away, all that kind of shit. Some of y'all mods jump in the conversation and y'all make it where y'all supposed to be on the neutral ground. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right is right and wrong is wrong. Fair enough. But when you kind of like join the conversation, it's looking like you join in the battle. I'm not talking about strictly, you know what I'm saying, on some like you shouldn't be saying shit or something like that. You shouldn't have an opinion. But when you have too much opinion, you're actually joining the motherfucking fight. And I've seen a couple of y'all join the motherfucking fight. This ain't no Marvel Ultimate Alliance team up, beat them up and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all motherfuckers here to make sure the room flow a specific way. Now, as far as the motherfucking rules go, right? And I'm going to just end with this. The rules should be the rules for whatever day that is, because yesterday's price ain't today's price. And however the fuck they decide to enforce that shit, whether it's a lot or it's a little, it's based on how the fuck y'all, just remember, it's based on how the fuck y'all acting at the time. So don't come in here trying to sashay and dance and expect special treatment. Ain't no VIP section in this bitch, and a lot of y'all think it is. Guess what? It ain't. I'm seeing the trailers pull up with trailer hitches, and I'm seeing cans all over the floor with a lot of you ghetto-ass motherfuckers who said that y'all ain't ghetto. Look at yourself and look in the mirror. Thank you.
Who's next? Let's go back to the queue.
Yeah, Shamos.
Yeah, it is Shamos.
Can I complain about the queue? Because I got pushed back in the queue by like 3 people.
Are you back in the queue? I don't know what happened. Honestly, I was tracking the queue. But did they put you back in?
I'm not Bima anymore. There's like 3 people ahead of me.
Nah, you should have been behind. Let me look at this. You should have been behind.
We'll check it out inside the chat. Okay, Miss.
You should be behind Beamer. Yeah, she's right. She should be behind Beamer. Yeah, it's supposed to be Kendo, Shay, School, Holly, Beamer, Miss Clark, Don, then Concrete.
Shamos, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just say this. There's 2 points that I wanted to make. I agree with Mike on the point that Pulp kind of ended her whole self just a little bit ago when she said she brought him in here to talk about politics. And the whole thing is, if he comes in here and he talks about politics, then his views are under scrutiny, and we allow people to attack and insult people that have views. Okay, we don't say, look, you can't attack him because he's not here. We allow people to talk about people behind their back. That's not a rule. And another thing someone said is, if you talk about, lady in front of lion or lion in front of lady, then you're moved down. That's not the rule. The rule is even Nathan has agreed that you're allowed to talk about lion or lady because they're members of the community. So that's already been established. So you guys that are interpreting that way, Nathan has already agreed that in the cases of being a member of the community and participating, then you're a fair game. The question is whether or not this guy's fair game. And I think that if he's come in here and he's talking about politics, then the dude is 100% fair game. And somebody said earlier, they asked me a question on mic. They said, did he come in here and address you? He doesn't have to address me. You're allowed to talk about people that you've never even spoke to. If you hear somebody's view and they're told to you by another member of the community, you can talk about that person and say his view's wrong, he's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. We don't have views. We don't say, oh, you've never talked with Kendo, so you can't talk about Kendo. No, that's not how it works. If you haven't talked about Kendo, you're allowed to talk about Kendo if it's something that he said or something that you heard him say. You're allowed to insult Kendo if you've never talked about him. So that's not a rule. So stop making up rules. The whole point is this. She nuked herself. This guy is coming here and talk about politics, which means if somebody says he was hating on Trump, then Pulpology's boyfriend was wrong about the shit he said about Trump, and he's a punk ass motherfucker. You know what I mean? And that's totally within the rules. And so what I would urge people is, this has dragged on for a long time. If you have something to say about the rule itself, you should speak. If you were coming up here like Dawn saying, oh, this isn't about crash outs, this isn't about insults, that's not the point. The point is crashing out and insults are not against the rules. Stay on fucking topic. I get it. You don't like crash outs. You don't like people insulting. You don't like derogatory conversation or whatever. None of that's against the rules. So stop bringing it up. It's completely irrelevant to the conversation. And so the last thing I'll say is, the dude is fair game. He's come in here and talked about politics. His views are able to be scrutinized, and his person is able to be scrutinized. Let's nuke this motherfucker. All right, peace out.
Okay, I think you drank too much of your bathwater, or you and Mike are drinking too much bathwater. I'm not sure if you guys are slow today, or just straight up retarded, period, right? First of all, no one is saying you can't criticize his views. No one is talking about his fucking views. Do you guys not understand fucking English? The rule says don't talk about someone, not don't talk about someone's views. Did you talk about his fucking views? Jesus Christ. It's like y'all lost fucking common sense. And you were just straight up retarded. Man. So this conversation has just gone on for almost 2 hours now. So let's just vote on it. Do we want to vote on the interpretation of the way Shay's retarded ass is taking a rule? Or do we want to vote on it based on how everyone else is taking a rule. Let's just vote on this shit and be done with it and stop bitching and crying about it. Because everyone is just repeating the same fucking talking points. Oh, Mike comes on Mike says he's all game because he spoke. No, he's not. I have never talked shit to I was tempted to just straight up say something like Lady Lion is a whore or some bullshit like that and see what would happen. Why the hell will I just randomly say that? Why will I just randomly talk about someone just because they've said an opinion on this stage? You guys are retarded on this app. Can we vote on this and be done with it? Because it's just been repetitive nonsense for the past 2 hours. Just vote on it, Nathan. Let's vote on this. It's done. Please, we've heard every single talking point. Let's just decide what the rule is going forward. Is it going to be we can't talk about people's spouses and kids? Or we can?
Alright, let's move on in the queue. Ollie. Are you Ollie? Ollie? Oh, so Ollie left. Okay. Ollie isn't there.
Bima, are you around?
Bima, go ahead, Bima.
Star, do you want it with me again? Do you want to get packed up again? You dumb slut.
No.
I'm gonna take your man. Go.
And he's gonna eat my pussy, and then after I'm done fucking your man, I'm gonna suck your daddy off. So I can get it on some of that daddy.
Oh, my turn.
You gotta blame Nathan for this shit, man. How do you condone this, Nathan?
Condone what? Cooning out?
Bro, you gotta shack up and
You want me to stop from cooning out? You want me to stop?
You need to
shack up, Nathan. You need to let your balls drag, Nathan, and do something about the shit people are doing, nigga.
I think so, bro.
You're crying like a bunch of
I think you gotta let women be women.
You gotta let your balls drag. You wanna be a leader, then act like a leader, then, nigga. Fuck.
Bima was next.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, the idea, think about it. Why did we come up with a rule to say, don't talk about people's spouses? So, if we're going to assume that the person is not on the app, you don't talk about the spouse just because of the vulnerability around the sensitivity of talking about someone's spouses. This way you don't talk about the spouses, you don't talk about kids. The ultimate idea is to not allow conversations to degrade into something so
With the gun and probably the rope and the way they do it.
Okay, so I've been listening.
Pronouns
impact people.
But
here's where I come to the dumb conclusion.
What were her pronouns?
She, her.
Huh?
She, her.
She, her. So what's wrong with saying she, her? Is she not a she?
No, she changed. She removed them.
It's the fact that you have to identify by pronouns. They're making the human experience too complicated, way more complicated. Listen, however, you're right, we have, but to have it in your title is too complicated. Like, we are literally making life harder for regular people.
What are you talking about? Even teams right now, they have add your pronouns to it on teams.
Right.
This is what the world is coming to. Like, what are we talking about?
It's come to that in the past 2, 3, 4 years. Right. This is some new shit. Right. Change is hard, and people are not. It's way more people that. There are way more people.
Cause like, do you want to lose elections over this? Like, is this one?
There are way more people that are not. They are not ready for the change. Like, you can't just make people do what they don't want to do.
And every time there's been a major shift or change, there's been this type of resistance. White people to this day complain on not being able to use the word nigga. They used it all the time.
That's a comparison we're making?
That's a weird comparison. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't like that. No, we can't do the same thing.
Is it not language and terminology?
And this is what.
This is why we're probably gonna keep losing because I just take life too hard.
It's so interesting that America can adjust to technology, social media, but something that really is not even their business, that takes nothing, like a second out of their day. I don't give a fuck if you look like Warren Sapp. If you say your name is Cindy, I'm gonna call you fucking Cindy. I don't give a fuck. I don't understand why people of America, like y'all make it like it's a big deal on this end, but why is it such a big deal on y'all end? It takes nothing, literally nothing. I don't give a damn. People be like, so you gonna be a shoe now? If she wanna be a shoe, what skin off my back is that?
Your mama named Clay, I'm gonna call you
It's
Clay.
no skin off of my back either. Like, I accept
No, and I don't believe what I'm saying. That thought process that you and CEO are talking about is crazy. Because
it's not though.
Yes, it is.
It's really not crazy. And let me tell you another thing, right? So the fact that I have this thought process makes me crazy. That's the other part, the wokeism. Like, I can't even express to everybody how I feel about what a woman is. Because somebody's gonna get offended. No, but somebody is going to get offended by it. Why is somebody getting offended by what women is? Like, I don't, it's too, this is too complicated for the regular, normal person.
Offended by someone, she, her pronoun.
It's not complicated at all. It's what it is people's resistance. They're just willful and being resistant because, again, like, we deal with this wokeism before today, right? Before it was, I've converted to a different religion. I have a different set of beliefs. I don't eat pork anymore. My name is now this. I now dress this kind of cultural wear, even though I've never been anywhere in this region of the country. Like, again, people are resistant when they have to shift and change, especially when it to other people's respect and comfort. It just is what it is. I mean, we've been doing this. Like, this is just not new. It's just a new group of people, in my opinion.
Can you all name something else that represents 0.7% of people and takes up this much oxygen? Is there another issue?
They make it an issue. Like, we haven't made it an issue. The Democratic Party hasn't made this an issue. It's an issue for people on the right who want to exclude these people from every damn facet of public life, in my opinion.
But I beg of you to look at it from the opposite end, because, right, 0.7%. Do you know, like, so first off, trans people didn't just pop up. They've been here. So imagine, and this is why I have to compare it to blackness, because I'm all black. I'm not mixed or nothing like that. And I'm gay, so I can compare because I know that they're very similar. So imagine how trans people before your time, before my time, and before any of these things have come to light, imagine how they've had to live their life. So I, as a human being, do not think that it's fair to have knowledge of that and then advocate or stand by while it continues, even if I didn't agree with it. I just think as a human right, the people should be acknowledged.
But we're not talking about legal rights. No one is saying...
Yes, we're literally... What do you mean?
We're not talking about not acknowledging them either. Yeah. Like, I never said don't acknowledge them.
Jess, this is not a conversation about discriminating against a group. That is not what the conversation is.
But if you're not acknowledging them as a part of the populace, that is...
It's about the special accommodations.
What's the special accommodations? What is special accommodations do trans people get?
that we change the entire system of HR.
Nothing
for
about
pronouns.
you has changed.
The entire HR system changed for it. Okay, so 0.7% changed a system of 100-something years. So that is very odd to me. And then number two, look, like I will respect somebody who's made the transition, but I will call them by their first name. I'm not. If you were a guy and now you're a girl, I'm just gonna say your first name.
Okay.
I mean, okay, I don't see why it makes a difference, but okay, that's fine. My thing is that, look, I'm not trans. I don't know what it's like to be trans, but I think if you're human and you know you're not bothering nobody, trans people, like if we're not talking about murderers, we're talking about trans people.
Well, so Megan Fox, basically, when she had her triplets, she said she just felt like her sons were going to be girls, and so she raised them as girls. So, like, that sort of thing really is very strange to people. And then here's another strange thing. When a young kid is questioning their sexual identity, which is, part of life, if it's a boy, why not, reinforce testosterone and see if that works out the issue, as opposed to doing something more evasive and transitioning them to another gender, which is a much more challenging
So now
thing.
we're gonna tell parents
Getting
how to
very
raise
into
their kids?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm saying what I'm asking. So I'm asking a question, all right? I'm asking a question. Why isn't that the first go-to medically? That's all I'm asking.
Because it's
I don't think that trans kids
medically and psychologically
are having
not a
medical.
issue. This shit has been
I don't think
studied
it's
on.
legal. Correct me if I'm wrong. For trans kids, or to have medical. I don't understand testosterone. You gotta.
CEO.
Wait a minute. No.
Isn't it up to the medical professionals, the psychiatrists and psychologists to answer those questions?
I need to clarify. Okay, so you used the example Megan Fox. She had triplets that happened to be boys. She feels as though she was carrying girls and she wants to turn them into girls, so she's going to raise them as girls. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay. So is that not a parent choosing how they wish to raise their children?
So it is.
Okay.
And it's her right to do that, and it's other people's right to find that offensive. So both things are true.
It's literally not your business. How you offended? This is
Nothing to do with us. Repeating. Oh wow.
I find it offensive. Finding it weird, I can say it's your right to find it weird, but offensive, how is it offending you?
And that's a Megan Fox thing. That has nothing to do with transgender people. That has nothing to do with this particular issue. That's a personal person's choice.
Would she have made the decision 40 years ago?
Would she have been allowed to make?
Okay. No. Even if she had allowed to, would she have? No. So there is something. So people are concerned about the societal twists they see with this as well.
The societal tolerance.
That's just crazy
I think I am communicating to you how people think. So, look, if you don't want to hear it, I will shut my tail up.
Okay.
No. Many of these things I believe myself as well.
That's
okay.
That's fine.
Clearly,
we can reason with you, correct? We can, you don't even have to change your mind. We're just reasoning.
Of course,
Yeah, I mean, I want to give us.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'm sorry. CEO. I understand your position. I have a small anecdotal example, and bear in mind, I grew up in Jamaica, which is, a highly homophobic culture. So my mom had a clothing store at one point, and it was Christmas time. They would have gifts and all sorts of stuff, and people in the community would come in and buy stuff. So this little boy comes in with his mom and his aunt. And he's probably 6, 7 years old at best. and she's looking around, and they're trying to buy him a birthday gift or whatever, or Christmas gift, whatever it was, and he starts looking at the dolls. He's looking at the dolls, and I mean, you could say that the kid is effeminate, but I mean, I wouldn't attribute that type of gender to a kid. But I mean, he's looking at the dolls. So, he finds this one, and I'm seeing this little kid's eyes glowing. He's looking at this Barbie doll, and I'm like, you want that? And his mom is looking at him like, I can't believe you're embarrassing me like this. And I was like, why is he taking a Barbie? Why doesn't he get a water gun? He's like, get him a water gun. And he's looking there, and it's like, he's looking at me, and I'm like, dude, I'm not the one paying for it. So he gets the water gun, and he leaves, and everybody's happy and thing. And it's like, it's funny, like, so I'm there sitting, and I see like a car pull up about an hour later, and I see the little kid runs out. I was like, you want the Barbie doll, right? He was like, yes. So I gave it to him. So I mean, I think when I think about it, I mean, just looking at his excitement and in terms of what he wanted, and it means a young age. So you could make the argument that, okay, maybe they should have reinforced them to get the water gun, and that would be more male, and all of the masculine things associated with that. But when I saw the look on that kid's face, there's no way I could deny that this is what he wanted. So I mean, that's how I feel the same way about gender. I mean, if they them deciding what his gender is, like the Megan Fox example, I could see an issue with that. But I mean, if at this point, he decides or she decides, this is who I am, and they identify with that, I don't see why you would make society make a decision based on that.
And CEO, you're
But I don't have an issue with what you just said, Ryan. For clear, I don't have any issue with what you just said. So,
right, but you said something about why isn't it that we start with testosterone levels and things like that. I mean, so it's like you're for gender affirming care as long as it's the gender that is assigned to the person at their birth. So if they need to give hormones in hopes to psychologically, I don't know, reconfigure this person's sense of self or image of themselves. It can't be the other way around. It can't be to affirm what they feel about themselves, but it has to be to affirm what society.
Well, here is how my lonely caveman practical brain thinks. That if someone is born a certain gender, then the first thing you would do is try to reinforce that before you went through the process of doing something completely life-altering. Especially because, like a child, children go through a lot, right? And like when in the 80s, we had a lot of girls who were tomboys, and should all of them, the ones who felt like it, should they have transitioned, right? Like, it was a stage. So I'm not saying it's a stage for everybody, but for some people, it's a stage. And so what you end up doing is making this permanent decision over something that could be a temporary phase.
All right, let's scratch this Megan Fox story, because that is a parent who chose to do what she wishes to do with her children. I do agree. Hey, parents should, go along with whatever the gender the child was born as, and then if that child should choose something different, then let that be on the child, not the parent changing it just because she wanted daughters. I mean, but at the end of the day, who am I to tell her what to do with her children? That's my point.
At the end of the day.
So see, the way you think is, or the way what you're saying is the way I feel like a lot of people think. And the issue I feel like I feel like this issue extends to women, biological women, trans women, is we as men don't know. We're not in their shoes. And we shouldn't have so much of a say-so on laws and issues pertaining to women or trans women. Because all all of the stuff you're saying could all be true. It could all not be true. We have no idea what the mind of a trans person, how it develops. We can only speak for cisgender men, and you know, so we're just like fishing, like just saying, you know, what we, you know, what just seemed, but we don't know. So I just think I just refer to the science versus what I would think, or, you know, something like that, because what you would think would not apply to them because you are a heterosexual cis man. So do you understand how that just doesn't, like, and I think we have to stop doing that when it comes to like other type of people, whether it's women, any other group of people. We can't make decisions for them because we don't know what it's like to be them.
So the interesting thing is that I could accept what you say 100%, but ultimately it's not going to change how I process it, and it doesn't change how a lot of people process it, and then how it influences how they see the world, right? So people can agree with the legal element and all those things you just said, but it ultimately doesn't change how they think about it by themselves when nobody's around, or for just with their circle of friends.
Well, then people should get educated. That's what people, instead of creating narratives and talking amongst themselves and gossiping like we as males often do about trans people, which is so ironic. We should get educated. If we're so concerned, which I don't think that's really what it is, I think some people are grossed out, some people are whatever. Just get educated. If you want to know and not, you know, go read about it. I did. I learned that puberty blockers was around way before trans people. Puberty blockers was being used for many other things, especially with girls, way before trans people came around. The word cisgender has been around since the early 1900s. None of these things are new, and none of these things are, you know, strictly for trans people. So I think that just like people had, and rightfully so, had to get educated on black people not being dumb or whatever the stereotypes of us being, you know, little monkeys or whatever the fuck they were saying about us at the time. The world, America had to come to grips. Nigga, we here, like, and we're not going nowhere. So, you know, you have to, like, cope. So I feel like the same with trans people. And the thing with trans people is only like 10 of them motherfuckers. So it's not like you gotta go and you know, you can definitely take it slow. So I don't get the whole phobia of the trans thing. I'm not directing this to you, but just with America in general. I am gay, and the last time I saw a trans person was, I don't know, I can't even remember. So I don't understand why this is such a big issue for America. And further, I don't understand why it was an issue in this election, which she never mentioned it. And I think for a reason, she never mentioned it. And it's all of a sudden something that, you know, niggas voted on.
But she never mentioned it, but she... You're right,
well, they used a commercial.
Defended her, so...
Yeah, they just used a commercial against her. That's all that happened. And it was a very powerful...
And a lot of X tweets and retweets.
Wait, you said that.
But they didn't combat it at all.
That commercial was not powerful. That was a bunch of bullshit. And the fact is, it didn't matter if she put the commercial out. They still was going to vote the way they were. Y'all going down all this rabbit hole of all this other bullshit of why they voted for him and not her. It's a fucking double standard. They were always going to vote for him. Why don't we get this through our skulls? It don't matter what was said, what was done, who did what. All this, it's just a bunch, we just talking. I'm keeping it real, we just fucking talking. They was always going to vote for him. They are a bunch of fucking assholes. Straight up. Those people are assholes because they voted for a person that's going to be against their interests, and they know it. They didn't give a fuck. Why are we going through this? This is crazy.
Which one of their interests did they vote against?
All of it.
Okay. So...
Can y'all play my link in the chat, please? Thank you.
So, if you are a white working class person who voted for the Conservative Party, that's voting against their interests.
Yeah, because of the fact that they're gonna have women who are gonna die because they're gonna die during childbirth.
It's not in their interest. Why do you assume that's their
I know
interest?
it's not in their interest. That's my point. But the voting against their interest is not having their wives okay when they're pregnant, and if they can't have the child and they can't go through with the pregnancy, or if they don't want to go through the pregnancy and they want to have an abortion, they can't. That's voting against your interest because you know that this will negatively affect you. It's been said 100 times, but they ignored it.
Well, that's what they're into. There's a guy who comes in here named Matt. There's a guy that comes in here named Matt that says his daughter, one of his daughters is raped by a cousin at age 12. He and his wife will force her to have the child. I don't know why y'all assume this is not their interest. These are their interests. They don't care if the woman dies. She's a whore to many of them. That's their interests.
That means they don't care one way or the other. So what do
No, they do care. That's their interest. Their interest is women should raise children and do that. Matt literally says that they will have the baby. That's their interest.
Again, they don't care one way or the other. It's obviously not thought of. They didn't think. They didn't think about this shit too hard. Trust
No,
me.
they do care.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey.
That to me.
Hey,
I just told you.
You can't say that the people are transphobic and say they don't care about the trans.
Exactly. Yeah, they do care. They just don't care like you care.
Listen, I speak to some people who voted post-election, some of my friends, acquaintances who voted for Trump. And mostly every last one of them mentioned the trans issue. And when I keep asking them, I said, do you know it's very minuscule, less than 1%?
It's a go-to. It is.
All of them it's a go-to for them. You are so right. See, and mind you, a lot of them are military, whatnot. But when I tell them it's insignificant, it's 0.6% of the population. How many trans people are even in your state? Have you ever met a trans person in real life? And you know what they said? Well, I don't want my kids going to school and being converted to trans because that's what the liberal agenda is doing. They're converting kids to trans.
Well, I'm not talking about the trans part specifically. What I'm saying is the facts are right there for them. They've been told it 100 times that trans people make up like probably less than 1% of the population. They don't get. That's what they don't care.
It takes 40% of her mind share, though. Royal takes up 40% of her mind share.
Royal, they literally think they're turning kids trans.
That's my point. My point is they don't give a fuck about real information. They don't care.
Well, we know that.
That's the electorate.
That's all I'm saying.
That's the electorate. And you can't just change the electorate.
So guess what? I don't give a fuck anymore. That's why I'm gonna sit here with this glass in my hand and drink this bourbon every fucking day and be cool. They don't give a fuck. So I don't give a fuck. Oh, you want that type of entertainment, go?
Yes. Yes, because what we should stop saying. Yes, because what we should stop saying is this is something that Democrats and liberals should stop saying. They're voting against their interests. Their interests are always to not be the nigger, and now it's to not be the nigger and the queer, let alone having a nigger queer. That is their interest. So I don't know why everybody always, they're voting against their interests. This is a phrase, if I ever use it, I take it back. They would rather be poor and white than rich and black. That is their interest. Yep. That's what LBJ said. That's an actual quote from LBJ. The quote's probably fake. That is their interest. Like, they actually care. And I'm going to tell you how they care. For all of a sudden, Nancy Mace just introduced a bill in the House assigning bathrooms to biological House members. What did they just get in the House? Their first trans member. All over the internet. They care. That's how they win elections. They don't like the trans girls in sports. They never talk about the trans boys. Ever notice that? They care. Because they're bigots and homophobes. The Democrats should recognize that and do what I was going to elect McBride. I don't think said, you know what? I didn't come here to use the bathroom. I came here to work with it and just keep it moving. But yeah, bro, they do care. They care big time. Yep, they care big time.
So do you think black people and Hispanic people who voted for
exactly
own interest?
Oh, you mean I guess?
No, they vote. I think everyone who votes for a set of their interests. Everybody that votes for their interests. An interest for a lot of Hispanic males was to keep a black bitch out of power. That was their interest.
Y'all living in illusion land. What? They would rather be poor under a white man than rich under a negress, let alone an Indian negress who cooks greens in the bathtub. At some point, you liberals are going to wake up and see the world. You live in a bubble. I'm in a real bubble.
said that. I literally just said that. I just said that they are using a double standard. They don't. Oh my God.
They're a hypocrite.
Yes,
You just realized
this is a breaking point. But this is a breaking point. Of course, it's a double standard. What you should do is to come to terms with a significant amount of the electorate votes and has a double-minded, conflicting interest. It happens all the time. It's just part. So stop saying it's a contradiction. Okay, so what? It's a contradiction. So what? That's the point you got to move to.
It's not a contradiction.
It's a
What's the contradiction?
The contradiction is that you got economic interest and you're voting on something that is that doesn't matter as much of your economic interest.
They don't believe Trump is better economically.
But no, it's not even that. It's not a contradiction. They believe it matters more. That's what Goat just said. Like,
yeah, they prioritize.
It's not a contradiction. It does matter.
Yeah,
Agreed.
It matters. Agreed. They prioritize.
So the solution is the Democrats, when they run again, they should build a underground for trans and just tell them we'll support you once we get in office. But right now we have to turn our backs on you. Is that
no?
Idea?
No, you can do exactly what Andy Bashir has done. There's Democrats in the country who are successful, but because Andy Bashir vetoed every single one of those anti-trans bills in Kentucky. He has an approval of 67%. He explained it. He explained it without talking down to people or like me, condescending. Maybe if someone like Ryan interrupted, who has a teacher who's a wife, he would let that person, I don't know, maybe he predicted the election right so they believed him. But you can do the thing that's in your values and then run on it. That's what it is. But he also, can talk to people. So yeah, you don't have to have an underground and do everything. He vetoed all those bills. He's the most popular politician in the state by about 40 points. No, not 40 points, by about 20 points. So yeah, it's possible. You just have to be good at that.
Ryan hunted you for 5 hours? Let's really talk about it.
What'd you say? What's that?
I said, why has Ryan hunted you for 5 hours?
Because he's a post-liberal Nietzschean.
Oh, please.
I don't get anything.
Wait, you talking about me or are you talking about White Ryan?
No, White Ryan, the one whose wife's a teacher, so therefore he knows everything about education.
Not a post-liberal, Ryan.
Yeah, not you. You're not a post-liberal. You're just a deadbeat because you're Jamaican, so you don't take care of your kids.
I don't have any kids that I know of.
Exactly. You just proved my point. You got 3, and you don't take care of them because you don't know them. Exactly. Burn a man.
So
it wasn't me.
what I hear is, we have to, whatever it matters most to them, Democrats have to lean into it and start from that place versus telling them what they should care about and leaning into that. Like, from what Royal was saying, Royal is talking about what they should care about, which you feel are what are in their best interest. But in reality, we need to speak to what they are saying they care about.
I mean, look.
And lean into that.
I mean, look. Here's the thing. We are in for a 4-year ride. I want my governor to be a fucking asshole. What does that mean? I mean, when Trump decides that he's going to stop sending money to New York State education, right? Because we're teaching black studies, we're teaching slavery. I want Governor Hochul to say, oh, really? Then fuck it. I'm withholding all of the tax dollars from New York to the federal government until you change your ways. And if you don't, then fuck you. You're never getting New York State. Take me to court. Do whatever you need to do. We ain't doing shit. Let's see what the country does when you lose New York State tax.
He gonna send in the troops.
They gonna bleed California and fucking the cities and Texas.
No, it's literally impossible because the IRS gets their money first. If you get a paycheck, they don't send your federal tax dollars to New York and the New York direct deposits into the IRS. The IRS gets their money first. So Kathy Hochul's talking about black kids not knowing how to use computers. So she certainly doesn't know how to withhold federal dollars. The feds get their dollars. They're getting their dollars. The idea that you can hold Fed dollars now. Look, this is not serious. This is not serious stuff.
We got a
Kathy
whole
Hochul.
state.
What?
We got a whole state filled with government workers. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? What am I talking about? The money that goes to the IRS goes directly to the IRS. Kathy Hochul cannot withhold money from my check if I work in New York. Your check, your FICA, payroll taxes, income tax, they go directly to the IRS.
Me, I work in a private institution. I'm talking about. Oh my God.
What do you mean? Never mind. In the government, it goes directly to the IRS. It doesn't go to New York.
She's the executive.
All right, Roy, you got it, bro.
Okay, yes, I do. Yeah, so basically,
you think that the states withhold tax dollars from the IRS? In what world?
So good. It actually doesn't really go straight from your check to the IRS.
Where does it go in now?
It goes into a holding account for your specific employer, and they in turn distribute it in mass and for a batch file process to the IRS.
Right. Does it? So was the states in the middle of that, ML?
No, the state is not in the middle of that.
Of course not.
But the
Let's play the idea. Let's play the idea. And if the corporations were going to try to hold those taxes and not pay the IRS, do you know what would happen to the corporations, Royal?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about corporations. I'm talking about the state of
They're
New
the
York.
ones who have the taxes. They have the holdings, and then they send it to the federal government. That's how it works.
We have a whole state filled with
What tax are they withholding? Just name it. Which tax are they withholding?
I just said it.
Which one?
Literally just said
FICA, local,
oh my God.
Sales tax. Which one? What are they withholding? Name the tax.
They're withholding federal taxes. If you are a state employee, right?
FICA. What federal tax?
I guess just say FICA or federal income taxes. Either one. Just choose one. Okay, federal income taxes. So what, CEO? What is your point?
So, and you're saying they're holding it from what the employees are getting? Like, play this out. I mean, do you understand the chain of custody? Do you understand the chain of custody?
This does not matter.
Am I not explaining this correctly? Maybe I'm just not explaining it correctly. She's the governor of the state of New York, right? She could literally say, okay, employees of state of New York, we're talking about state employees, not talking about me who works in a private institution. That's impossible, okay? Yeah, we're gonna work this money differently. Just as simple.
Oh, okay. All right. So here's the argument you're making right there. Okay, I got it. Okay, so this argument you're making.
So you want her to break the law?
The state. I got it. Well, at least it's coherent. So the state government is going to withhold for their employees. Are going to withhold the taxes and not send it to the federal government. That is what you're advocating for. Is that correct? Okay, got it. Now,
be an asshole, just like Trump.
All right, great.
Go to jail.
Now, what do you think will happen? Okay. And it wouldn't just be the governor.
Yeah, the tax commissioner would be the first person to go to jail.
And it would be the people in the departments.
Yes, they would all go to jail.
Fuck it.
And then this is the funny part. Government workers' contribution to federal tax dollars of the state of New York, I can guarantee, is no more than 15% of the money that goes. That money is massively from private industry. So she withholds 15% because Trump decides not to send money because she's not teaching slavery. New York would actually end up worse off because the money they get from the feds, back from the feds, is probably more than the state employees are sending. Most of the money coming from New York is from private employers. But Royal wants the tax commissioner and the employees and Kathy Hochul to go to prison. So they go to prison, the money gets released, and they're still not teaching slavery.
Are they going to tell all the employees about exactly?
But Royal, before you even do that, you have to set up a mechanism to put that in place.
I got you. I got that. Here's the thing: if they pull the money in the first place, we won't be getting anything. So What is your
All right, cool. So I ran this. Royal, it is at least an interesting exercise. So thank you for the
Not
Royal,
I would have had to walk through it.
Participation trophies.
So.
Are you gonna tell all our employees the file exempt?
I hate y'all.
No, Royal is for state rights.
So Royal,
it's all states' rights.
So Royal, first the federal government would sue the state of New York. And then there would be criminal charges filed. And then they would intercept the funds and seize them.
They're telling me everything that I know. I'm still saying big fuck it. Again, if they stop sending the money to the state of New York, right? Because they don't like what we're teaching, fuck it. You're acting like I'm just saying this like, oh yeah, just do it. No, do it as a reaction to what they're doing. That's what I'm saying.
I don't see how that would work. Like, would they tell all of this? I'm just, hold on.
Royal.
No, because I'm thinking. Wait, hold on. What you mean Brooklyn is the voice of reason?
Royal.
I love Brooklyn. She's so cute.
I
Go
love
ahead.
her too. I'm just saying Royal. And she from New York.
But I'm thinking, like, are you going to tell all the employees to file exempt? Like, how the fuck do you get the money from the... How?
No, he's talking about the portion that the employee takes. He's talking about that side.
Okay.
He's really not talking about nothing at all.
Can y'all play my video, please? Can somebody play my video? Because that explains what I was saying.
No, they play videos on fan base.
So honestly, do you think President-elect Donald Trump is saying something?
What?
When he's talking about
Hold on.
I mean,
hold on. Royal is a part of. Hold on, Royal.
He's not saying anything.
Royal, I want to answer your question. I want to answer your question. You are being blue MAGA right now. You're doing
Blue Anon.
Sure.
Blue Anon, because
right.
you're not saying anything that makes sense, and because you don't make sense, you ask me if Donald Trump makes sense. What the fuck do you not making sense have to do with Donald Trump? You don't make sense, Will. You can't just be.
Great.
You can't be nonsensical, and just because you're not on Donald Trump's side, it doesn't make you less nonsensical. You're still being.
And you're right.
I know.
And you're right. Guess what, Dr. Library?
You're still gonna be nonsensical.
You goddamn right. You know why?
Because you're blue MAGA.
Yeah, I'm blue MAGA. Yeah, because when the country votes for that guy, I don't give a fuck anymore.
You don't give a fuck about sense.
I don't give a fuck. Why should I? Nobody else does.
All right, Royal, what else you got? Give us your next theory.
No, please.
Please, give us your next one, Royal.
I almost want to ask
Please
you about
play my video. It's gonna point out all of this whole conversation. Please, I'll post it again.
They're acting as if this country currently is acting within reason. Come on, stop it. It's not.
Royal, will you commit to giving us one of your new ideas at 5 p.m. every day?
I put the solution in the chat, guys. Like, y'all are just being difficult. Royal clearly said the solution. What are you sipping on? Because that is the pathway to understanding. We just need to sip on the same thing, and then we'll get it.
That's the spirit. Oh, look at that spirit.
I told you. Look at this. All this.
So we gotta become alcoholics. Yeah. In order to get through the next place. I can't.
What is a woman?
An adult human female.
No. You're not
That's what let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I'm not going for it. Y'all not about to. Let me tell you. This is all. I don't care. I would not lose the Democratic nomination if I said what a woman is, because I'm telling the truth.
According to my favorite aunt, Shaka Khan, well, y'all can say.
Y'all act like it was.
Because I'm not.
Please, thank Yeah.
not shucking and jiving because I have to entertain for.
Oh, you just shucked and jived.
So I'm not going to shuck and jive.
Okay, and finally, someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talking about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it. Yeah, I got bad news for you. They don't have a monopoly on stupid. You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers' union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person. You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit. The Democratic polling firm Blueprint told Democrats months ago that black voters, aka their supposedly liberal base, were more likely to find the president too liberal than too conservative. They also found that voters didn't just want Harris to distance herself from Biden, they wanted her to distance herself from what they believe the entire Democratic Party has become. Portlandia sketch. A bunch of privileged mean girls complaining about privilege and trying to make fetch happen. What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Oh, right, and then re-elected him. Maybe you missed it because it wasn't on TikTok. And sexism? Hillary got 3 million more votes than Trump, which in a normal country would be called a victory. It wasn't 21st century sexism that prevented a woman from being president. It was the Electoral College. Democrats run for office as if the voters don't live here, as if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office, but they do. They live here, and they actually see women and people of color, and it doesn't look like some patriarchal racist nightmare. Do problems remain pertaining to racism and sexism? Of course. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey. The votes are in. They don't want your pity. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Black people, they're just like us. Kamala spent 100 days telling voters, I know it feels like crime and illegal immigration are bad, but fuck your feelings. Look at this chart. Yes, there's a lot to ask already about the new regime, but maybe take 1 week to ask what you did wrong. The basis for Democratic campaigns has become, we're the smart people. That we know from the get-go. No need to look into that. We know that a priori, which is a Latin phrase the red hat people wouldn't have a clue about. But they don't need to. Have you seen my "In This House We Believe" lawn sign? See, it says right on it, we believe in science. Right, which is why you demanded no one even debate whether COVID could have escaped from the one lab in the one city where they were studying it. How far-fetched. The New York Times called it racist. Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children who are retarded. The same thing can happen to ideas if they are also conceived in an atmosphere of intellectual incest. Maybe take the clothespins off your noses and actually converse with the other half of the country. Stop screaming at people to get with the program and instead make a program worth getting with. Is liberalism if you don't win elections? Last week, Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton said, I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. Yes, there's the problem in a nutshell. Because Congressman Moulton sounds reasonable to me, but his campaign manager immediately resigned in protest. Let me make this as plain as I can to the smart people. The campaign manager who resigned, yeah, let that person go. Marginalize that guy. Try making too woke be a cancelable offense. It's important for America to have a center-left party, and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in the face. I will conclude by saying the reason I'm so mad at the Democrats is because as a voter, the issues that were important to me were democracy and the environment. And now, there's no one to champion or defend either of them because you, with your aggressively anti-common sense agenda and shitty exclusionary attitude, blew it. You lost everything. House, Senate, White House, Supreme Court, and left us completely unprotected and ready to be violated. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody!
So, Brooklyn, what did you want us to hear from the racist Bill Maher?
They try to remove it.
What did you want us to hear there?
I wanted you to hear how this conversation that you guys have been having all day is a reflection of what he just said. Racist or not, it's true. A lot of the things that it's exactly the conversation that we've been having all day in here. And it's actually a lot of the things that you said, Goat.
You know, I talk about it among black people. So I'm not a white guy. I'm not a white guy talking about whitey.
All right. But that's
no, it's not all right. Because I actually recognize that the woman was a black woman and there are deficits against black people and women. And I've never said because Obama won, she should have won. Right? That's not what I said. I said there was a cap on her because she's a black woman. That's the first thing. Secondly, the whole about whitey, I never said that. But keep going. What else did you want us to hear from a guy who's aggressively homophobic?
So let's reverse it. What are 3 things you agree with him on? Don't act like you just disagree with everything he said. Well,
I also agree with Donald Trump inhaling and exhaling.
Well, no, but there are at least 3 things he said that you have said. So
of course there are, because some of it is common sense stuff, but it was an 8-minute screed by a racist white guy.
But what you're doing is taking an angle as well.
Hold on a second.
Dismiss everything he said.
Hold on a second.
Dismiss it all.
Hold on a second. The credibility of the speaker matters. So when a segregationist said we should fund federal highways, I agreed with that, but you can't align me with Strom Thurmond. I'm not an idiot. So you're not going to have, what are the 3 things you agree with? Like the other day there were 7 people. You just arbitrarily come up with magic numbers from the Bible. 3, the Trinity, 7, the Muses, 9, come on, I'm not an idiot. Of course he said some things that were true, but we didn't need to hear that from a racist, an open homophobe and bigot. Bill Maher, the guy that goes around calling people niggas, an old white dude, and you say, oh, I should, what are 3 things I agree? Here's 3 things I agree with. Happy Thanksgiving. I got Happy Thanksgiving. Good night. And I'm on HBO. Those are the 3 things I agree with.
All right, and you find Lyndon B. Johnson to be credible despite his racism, correct?
Lyndon B. Johnson to be credible?
I'm recording Cloud House.
Credible in what way?
Probably gave the best illustration.
Credible? What do you mean credible? I find segregationists to be credible.
All right.
They were credible in their segregationism.
Do you dismiss what Lyndon B. Johnson says because of his racism?
Do I dismiss what he says? About what?
The same way you're dismissing Bill Maher right now because
Lyndon B. Johnson was born in